New York City has taken a tragic turn. A woman seeking asylum died by suicide this weekend at a city shelter. Her death comes as the city is considering taking legal action to stop Texas from busing migrants to the city. Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo in the newsroom to update us. Melissa.
David, Mayor Eric Adams declined to share any details about this apparent suicide, but we are now learning some new information from several people familiar with this tragedy. High-ranking officials familiar with the case tell me the mother had been here in New York City with her 2 children for several months and had been separated from her husband at the border. It was Mayor Eric Adams who announced the news this morning that a mother seeking asylum had taken her own life yesterday in a New York City homeless shelter. Several sources familiar with the tragedy now telling me that mother was living in this Queens homeless shelter with her 2 children after making the journey from Colombia back in May. A journey that so many migrants describe as being taxing and traumatic. The sources say this mother of a 15-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl was separated from her husband at the border, and that he had repeatedly, frustratingly tried and failed to gain entry and reunite with them here in New York. We're told by a senior law enforcement source that it was the woman's 15-year-old son who discovered her dead by that apparent suicide inside their homeless shelter unit yesterday. News 4 is withholding the woman's name. We do not know what pushed her to the breaking point, but the mayor, when asked today, said this should not be viewed as a failure of the New York City shelter system.
It's really sad to hear that someone, took their life in this capacity. But, by law, we're not allowed to go into the details of it. We didn't fail in this city. This city is helping people. And again, my heart goes out to that family.
And Mayor Adams is promising that mental health services will be among the many services available to these thousands of migrants. But we are talking about a shelter system right now that is really stretched to its limits, currently housing more than 8,500 asylum seekers. This past weekend, 9 busloads from the border reportedly arrived on just one day. Mayor Adams has been crying out for help from the federal government for exactly 2 months now, but there are so far no clear plans in place for federal help. And the Biden administration has repeatedly failed to respond to our inquiries here at News 4 about what assistance, if any, might be in store from the White House to help New York with the enormous burden and cost of resettling thousands of migrants who are living in very stressful, crowded conditions in our shelters right now with no permission to work. They can't afford basic needs. A very sad situation, David, and as Mayor Adams said today, another sign that situation is really a crisis. Natalie, David.